For at this time.
Madam President,
The senator from Virginia.
first of all, Madam President, I want to thank my colleague from West Virginia, Senator Capito, for her comments. I know we're going to shortly hear from the Senator from Pennsylvania. We heard from the Senator from Ohio. And this is sometimes hard for me to say as a former governor of Virginia to a former governor of West Virginia. But I want particularly those who are following this issue that no one in this body has fought harder, longer, more passionately, more consistently than Joe Manchin for minors. It was only through his repeated efforts, and this is a man with a dog with a bone on this one, that will not let it go. He's at times stiffened the spine of folks on this side of the aisle when they wanted to say, well, maybe no, we ought to move to something else. He's come back and back and back and back again. And so I'm honored to stand with him one more time. And let me again, it was some challenge that someone from the Commonwealth of Virginia has to say this many nice things about somebody from West Virginia. But the folks in the gallery ought to know there's been no one that's been a better advocate for minors than the senator from West Virginia. I don't think there is a member of the Senate, I know at least on this side of the aisle, that has not heard at least a half dozen times about the promises that Harry Truman made to the minors in 1946 and how it is our obligation to keep that word and keep that promise. And what the senator from West Virginia has indicated, and why this is timely again, we've got the challenges around the pension funds, we've got other challenges, but we got crisis right now. We talked about the Westmoreland bankruptcy, 1,200 minors, 500 of those live in Virginia. If we can't get a solution on this deal right now, on the American Minors Act, then a lot of those minors and their families are going to go without relief because their day of reckoning is already upon us. So I want to echo what Senator from West Virginia said, to urge the majority leader, and for that matter, the minority leader, if there's a way, if we do the rational, sensible thing and not shut down the government on Friday, we ought to take advantage of making sure the American Minors Act is part of that provision. I can think nothing better as we go into the work period than to try to give minors some certainty. Let me just mention one other item that the American Minors Act has, and that is the strengthen the Black Lung Disability Trust Fund. This is also an issue that if we don't get resolved, the amount of contributions that go into that trust fund drop in half. And I don't think many folks realize, and I think this is particularly the case in West Virginia and Southwest Virginia, black lung is still a real, enormous medical challenge. Matter of fact, we've now seen growth in large populations in my state, and I know in West Virginia as well, of advanced black lung cases called complicated black lung that has an even more devastating effect. So if this trust fund is cut in half based upon legislation that took place at the end of calendar year 2018, the ability for the trust fund to meet the needs of these minors and their families who are still hard hit by a debilitating disease, we're not going to be able to give them, again, the high quality care they deserve. It is way past time to fix this problem. Let's take that step. We've got one of these large pieces of legislation, hopefully that the president won't decide to veto it, that we'll get through. And wouldn't it be, I would ask the senator from West Virginia this before I cede to the senator from Pennsylvania, but sometimes with these giant bills, that strange things pop out at the end of the day and you kind of wonder how they got in. Wouldn't it be great if on this mini giant bill that one of the things that popped out might be the promised relief for our minors in terms of their health care and their pension, something that I believe we as a country owe to the miners. Back, yes, to the President Truman's promises back in 1946. So I stand with all of my colleagues on this issue. Particularly want to thank again my friend, the senator from West Virginia, for his great leadership and his willingness to stand tall time and time again. And let's see if we can get it done this time. With that, Madam President, I yield back to the senator from West Virginia.